Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel. That's little Bruno there in the back. And welcome back to my deck review video. I like to do these weekly and I share with you. I always itch my nose in my videos. I'm sorry. It's a thing that I do every time. Every time my nose gets so itchy. Anyway, I am going to be sharing with you my thoughts on the decks I've been working with over the past week and share with you the decks I plan to work with next week. Usually I work with one tarot and one oracle. So with that said, I'm just gonna jump right into it. So the tarot deck that I have been working with this week, it did get a home in this beautiful sparkly purple bag, is the 78 Tarot Mythical, and I am super glad that I was working with this deck this week because I completely fell head over heels in love with it. And as some of you may know, 78 Tarot Elemental just launched on Kickstarter on Tuesday or Wednesday of this past week at 11:11 Eastern Daylight Time, if I got that right. It is still on Kickstarter as of the time I'm filming this video, and this will go up this week, so it will definitely still be backable, but it is fully funded now, 78 Tarot Elemental, and I am really, really, really excited. So 78 Tarot Mythical is a collaborative deck. It is not the first 78 Tarot collaborative deck. If you've never heard of these before, they are a global art collaboration, so there are actually 81 different artists that contribute to this deck. Each artist does their own card. So the way that you can kind of tell whose art you're looking, the way you can tell is at the bottom of each card you have the title of the card, and you also have the artist credit right on each card, which is really neat because as you encounter art in this deck that you really love, you can actually check out the artist. So it's an amazing way for artists to get their work out into the world, and also just to see this much fabulous art in one place is really exciting. And I could see myself really enjoying this deck artistically, even if I didn't want to work with it. But I had a fabulous time working with this deck. And it kind of surprised me a little bit. As excited as I was to work with it, I wasn't entirely sure how I would feel about a collaborative art deck because, as I mentioned last weekend when I talked about the fact that I was going to be working with this deck, I just wasn't sure if it would be too disruptive to see all of these different art styles in spreads or in readings, but I just loved it. And every card was kind of like a special surprise or a gift, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. So I was super stoked to back the 78 Tarot Elemental, which has an elemental theme. This deck, the 78 Tarot Mythical, has a mythic theme. So every single card, in addition to depicting the tarot meaning that it's associated with, also depicts something from mythology. So this fantastic guidebook, which is in full color, by the way, like the production value in this deck is incredible. Not only is it gold gilded, the box has gold on it, like gold foil on it. The backs have gold, this super shiny, beautiful gold foil on it. It's a stunning, beautiful creation. Every single detail was thought of. I love that they're borderless. There's even gold foil on the little titles here. So beautiful. But that aside, it is not lacking in depth in any way. Like I just almost through the guidebook. But throughout the guidebook, you get full color depictions of every single card. You also get, along this section here, a little bit about the myth or mythological creature or character that's being depicted. Over here, you get the artist's interpretation of the card, which I love. And you also get the message, the tarot card message, which all of those messages are written by Trish Sullivan, who also wrote the guidebook for the Mons Tarot. And I believe she has written the messages for the guidebooks for every 78 Tarot. Please correct me if I'm wrong if you know, but this is the first one that I picked up, and I am kind of giving some serious side eye to the 78 Tarot Nautical, and which has come before this. I'm not as drawn to the 78 Tarot Astral, because that's not sort of a theme that I resonate super strongly with, but it is beautiful, and I have seen the art, and it is stunning. 78 Tarot Nautical, I think if I was going to pick up another 78 Tarot, might be the one I would be drawn to, but to be honest, between this and the Elemental, which will be coming out later this year, after the Kickstarter and all of that stuff has happened, I'm gonna be pretty happy, I have to say. So, blew me away, really excited. As far as how it was to work with generally, I feel like all of the art really vividly depicts the meaning of the cards, and because there's so many different artists, you also get a bunch of different interpretations, which makes this a really fun deck to study, to flip through, to just see how different artists portray not only the mythological creature or character that they are depicting, but also how they choose to show the meaning of that card. Like, this is one of the things I love about having a collection of decks, is I love seeing how different artists approach different meanings. And I have to say that I felt like I got accurate and meaningful readings all week with this deck. I really, really enjoyed it. I don't have any complaints. I'd say I did pull this card today. This is probably not my favorite art style, and yet the card itself still resonated really well. So there is that. There's a nice 10 of Pentacles. The other benefit to this being a collaborative deck is that you see a lot of diversity throughout the deck as well. So it hits all the marks for me. I just really, 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 really enjoyed working with it. Everything about it is super well done. I have no complaints. And I didn't show it last week, so I will show it this week. But here you have all of the, as part of the artwork of the inside of the box, all the signatures for all 81 artists are in there. It's really pretty cool, I have to say. So that was super fun to work with. The Oracle deck that I have been working with this week, I put this little beauty away first, is the Connected and Free Alchemist Oracle by Inner Hue. This also comes with a wonderful guidebook, although I will say, and the artist does address this in the beginning, but the cards are in here in black and white with a full, like, kind of a paragraph or so of a message. They're not alphabetical, and the artist says that that is because you'll be more likely to lean into your own intuition. But I do find that a little frustrating because when I want to read, I often want to read what the artist thinks about that card, not as part of my reading, but just as one of the things I enjoy about working with different decks. So I found it a little annoying that I had to kind of like flip until I found the card that I wanted, because there's no rhyme or reason. But that is my only beef with this deck. And I will say that in previous editions, the book that came with it was a little bit bigger, so it didn't fit in the box with the cards. The box that this deck comes in, I'm not currently keeping my cards in, is one of these style boxes. So it's like a corrugated cardboard. It's got a little bit of give to it, as you can see, so it doesn't feel super crazy sturdy, but it does give it this really nice kind of organic feel. That said, I really think the box is nice. I'm going to put the box away. I've just been keeping my cards in my Peggy bag. The cardstock I didn't mention the cardstock in the 7/8 Tarot Mythical. It's really nice. It's flexible, but it doesn't feel flimsy at all. This cardstock is matte for the Connected and Free and really quite thick. Like, quite thick. So it's a little bit stiff for shuffling. That said, I don't really mind that. I've got strongish hands. So, and it hand over hand shuffles beautifully. Oh god, that's a pretty card. I love all the artwork in this deck so much. I feel like this would look so stunning next to Jillian Wild's Naked Heart Tarot. So I think it might be a one I reach for when I'm working with that particular deck, because I feel like there's enough white space to complement that deck and just as many vivid colors. But honestly, this is such a fantastic deck for intuitive reads because the keywords are really good. They're really expansive. There's lots for me to chew on in every card. I love that there are chakra cards in here. So when those come up, that gives me a ton of stuff to read with as well. It is so beautiful. I do not regret for a second picking this one up. This is the, I believe, let me tell you, I think it's the 3rd edition. Let me just see. It should say somewhere. Does it say? I'm pretty sure it's whatever the current edition is. I'm pretty sure it's the 3rd edition. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed working with this. So this is going back in my Peggy bag and back in my collection. So definitely wins from both the decks that I was working with this week. Super enjoyed. Cannot wait to pull them out again. And just knocked it out of the park in both cases. Let's talk about what I'm going to be playing with this week. So coming up this week, I'm going to be working with the Tarot Fauna. This is by Devin Strickler. Artist is Brittany Burkhard. This box is a nice 2-piece box, but it does not have thumb holes. That said, it has a little bit of gloss to it, so I feel like it's not too difficult to open it up. The backings of the cards are really neat. I love these backings, these sort of botanical, planty sort of animal tracks, and it just feels really earthy, but there's a little shift of color in there. It might not show up very well on camera, but just the barest bit of like sepia tone and like a really pale, maybe earthy pink. I could be imagining it, but there's just a hint of color in that backing. These cards, if you haven't seen them before, it is an animal or nature-based deck. Love this magician. It's got a lot of color and it seems really sweet. I will say that one of the things that sort of sold me on this deck was that throughout the suits, so I'm going to get past the majors here so I can show you. Throughout the suits, you have an entire type of animal that is in each suit. So in the rocks, which are of course our earthy suit, we have bears. Throughout the shells, which is our watery suit, we have our river otters, which are like my favorite animal. I love river otters. I can't wait to ask Peggy to make me a really cute bag for this deck, but I'm going to work with it first. And then throughout the wands, we have a really wonderful fox family. I'm looking at you, Heather. If you don't have this deck, there's an entire suit. Look at these foxes. I'm just going to pull up another foxy picture just for Heather. Look! And then throughout the swords, for you air folk, are owls. And I love that each suit kind of tells a story. So I'm going to really, I think, enjoy working with this, but we shall see how it actually reads. I love that it's a borderless. Cardstock feels normal. Nothing like particularly exciting, but just normal. I will say, I did not pick up the, look at the inside of the box. Look at the inside of the lid. Heather, your foxy friend. I'm sorry, I got distracted looking at the box. I did not pick up the guidebook for this deck. I did hear from somebody in the Supportive Tarot Facebook group that they were not a huge fan of the guidebook. The person I picked up this deck from did not have a guidebook. I don't think I need a guidebook for this deck, to be honest, and if it's not the kind of guidebook that's going to blow me away with new insights, probably not going to go about picking that up. But I am looking forward to reading with this deck, and I love this depiction of the Fool. I keep showing up in the camera, and I'm just like, yes, you're perfect for the Fool. We see, of course, swans for lovers. Anyways, enough about that. That's what I'm going to be working with this week. I'll let you guys know how it works out. I have this funny feeling, as I was looking through this deck a little earlier tonight, I had this kind of funny feeling like if I really truly enjoy this deck a lot to work with, it may unseat my Spirit Song Tarot by Paulina Cassidy, which, while lovely, is completely lacking in color, the kind of color I want to see, which is vivid, bold colors. So I may end up rehoming Spirit Song if this deck resonates better. I don't know, I'm kind of torn because Spirit Song has really lovely keywords and I really love that, but we'll see. I don't know that I really want a whole ton of animal decks, and I do also have the Brady Tarot, so there's that. Moving right along. The Oracle deck that I'm going to be working with, which does already have a little mini Peggy bag. I love this little mini one. It like is just the perfect size. Sorry, I'm going to be a shill for a moment. Just bear with me. But this little mini bag that she came up with is like exactly the size for like little decks, like mini tarot and stuff. Anyways, this deck fits perfect in here, so it makes me really happy. So this is the Curious Oracle. This is the 4th edition. Yeah, this is the 4th edition of A Curious Oracle. The artist of this deck is Holly DeFount, I was going to say 2018 because that's what it says on the card. I actually got this from Holly at the Northwest Tarot Symposium. These are what the backs look like. The art in this deck just blew me away. Now, I spent about as much for this deck as I have spent on indie tarot decks, so it was not inexpensive, but I have to say the quality of this cardstock like stopped me in my tracks. I walked by her booth, I saw the art, which grabbed me. I picked up a card and I was like, holy cow, is this like plastic? It's like a really nice, thick, matte, smooth, silky, beautifulness cardstock. But what really grabbed me was the art. What's interesting about this deck is that it does have a system. So it has 7 sort of suits or sets and 7 steps within each set. So there's a number at the top for the card, the number of the card within that set, and then there's a number at the bottom. Sorry, number at the top is which set, number at the bottom is which step within that set. And there is a whole system there. There is a digital guidebook that I'll probably pick up from Etsy this week because it's just a few dollars and I feel like I want those deeper meanings. But it does come with a sheet. So I'll show you what that looks like in a second. But the artwork is really, really pretty. I think I'm going to really enjoy working with this. It's right up my alley as far as the art style and the keywords. And I feel like I could totally just take this deck at face value and just straight up read with it based on the keywords that are on each card. But I may try to take some time and dig into the system a bit. So it just comes with this little fold out sheet. It did come in a little box, which I've already put away, but it was a, I'm trying to think if it was a 2-piece box. Yeah, review. Anyways, I'm not reviewing until next weekend anyways. But it comes with this sheet that describes what each of the 7 sets are and then what each of the 7 steps are. I find this text so tiny and hard to read though, to be honest. So I am going to probably just pick up that little digital guidebook and read that and go from there. But I am super stoked to be playing with this. This is one of the things I was probably most excited to pick up at Northwest Tarot Symposium. This, the Tildwick, there was a couple things, but this one just feels really special and unique, and I've never seen it before. Now, Kelly at the Truth in Story does have a walkthrough of the second or third edition, I think, of this deck. She might even have this edition, I don't know. So I watched that and got some information about the system and how it's set up through her walkthrough, and I will also share some more with you next weekend, but I'm looking forward to working with these 2 beauties this week. I will let you guys all know how it goes. As always, I really welcome your feedback. I'm curious to know if you work with any of these decks, either the ones I worked with last week or the ones I'm working with this week. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you like about them, not like about them? How do they read for you? Are they on your wish list? Let me know. In the meantime, if you are new here, remember to subscribe so that you can stick around and, you know, be a part of the Supportive Tarot family. You can also join us over in the Supportive Tarot Facebook group for chit-chat and divination practice and all kinds of fun things. Don't forget to hit the like button. That little thumbs up just lets YouTube know that you are enjoying my content, which really helps me out. And hit the little bell if you want to maybe, hopefully, when YouTube is working, get a notification when I have new videos or I go live. So with that, I'm going to let you all go. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and I will talk to you all again later. Bye!